The fiercest battle in Hololive has returned yet again. The Holo New Year Cup, now in its 5th season. Here, all Hololive members shall battle it out fiercely in Mario Kart for their place in the stars. A throne seemingly farther away than it's ever been. A throne once again held by none other than the Azure Flash Comet, Hochimachi Suisei. Like in previous years, today I shall take a look over the different participants and try to predict which will survive and make it to the finals. The Tsuyo Cup. Now, the rules for this tournament are quite different than the previous ones. First is the preliminary stage, consisted of groups A, B and C. Whoever finishes first in groups A, B and C will qualify to the Tsuyo Cup. Everyone else will be moved into the group stage. The group stage will consist of groups D, E and F, and will be made of everyone who did not finish first in the preliminary stage. Those who finish first in the group stage will qualify to the Tsuyo Cup. After that, everyone who did not place first will be ranked according to the sum of all their points, combined from both the preliminary and group stages. The top 6 from this ranking will qualify to the Tsuyo Cup, while the bottom 12 will move to the Zako Cup. Towa and Okayu are the hosts of the tournament and cannot compete in the same group for the preliminary and group stages. Fuwawa and Mokoko cannot compete in the same group for the preliminary and group stages as well. In the event that Towa and Okayu or Fuwawa and Mokoko get placed in the same group, they will randomly trade with someone else. Hopefully my explanation of the rules made sense. The rules have changed things quite majorly, and while I think it will make for more interesting races, it makes it difficult for my usual predictions. So I will make my predictions as I always do, by picking the top 4 members in groups A, B and C, whom I think will make it to the finals. And additionally, I will pick one participant in each of those predictions whom I think will place first in their group, just to make things more difficult on myself. My disclaimer as always, remember this is for the sake of having fun, so please don't take it too seriously if I don't pick your Oshi or if I'm critical of their skills. At the end of the day, it will be their training up to the tournament that will decide who is ultimately victorious. Regardless of who wins or loses, I know it will be a wonderful tournament, and I am always eager to be surprised by the unexpected rising star. That is how legends are born after all, and no one is a better example than the Azure Flash herself. Group A is comprised of Louis, Roboko, Miko, Suisei, Hato, Ayame, Mio, Noel, Bells, Bijou, Mokoko, and Ao. Yet again, much like last year, Group A is the one I consider to be the hardest in the preliminary stages, and few members stand out as the obvious picks, starting with none other than the greatest threat in the whole history of the Holo New Year Cup. Her stellar luminance is that which illuminates the heavens. Her willpower, subjugating all that stands in her way, leaving naught but a trail of azure in her wake. She takes aim and charges at full force, piercing through any barriers towards the farthest reaches of the universe. Don't take your eyes from the stars above, or you'll miss her in a flash. Our 2 times champion, the Azure Flash Comet, Hochimachi Suisei! Do I need to say more? If you've watched the previous tournaments, you know just how much in their own league Suisei is. Perhaps only matched by the likes of Minato Aqua, who unfortunately isn't participating in this tournament. Suisei is not only my #1 pick to win Group A, I pick her as the most likely to win the whole tournament yet again. And don't just take my word for it, let's take a look at her track record. She was the winner of the 2nd tournament, the one to dethrone the original champion and founder of the Holo New Year Cup, Minato Aqua, the Zero Overlord, who at her peak performance may be the only in Hololive who can consistently match up to Suisei in an equal level. Suisei achieved a very respectable 2nd place in the 3rd tournament, and last year reclaimed her throne as the winner of the 4th tournament, becoming the only in Hololive to have ever been champion twice. Any who watches her performance last year can witness just how skilled and in control Suisei is. She is very calculated and just about knows what to do in every situation, no matter what the RNG may bring her way. She is by far the most consistent player in the tournament. She knows how to effectively utilize most shortcuts in the game, is very experienced, and her mental game is insanely strong, rarely letting unexpected situations or nervousness affect her performance. Above all, her will to win is so strong, you can expect her to have practiced like crazy for this tournament. Suisei has reached a state of enlightenment, where if she wants to learn something, she knows exactly how to learn and how to get good at it, no matter what it takes. And such is how she has achieved her current heights, both in Mario Kart and outside of it. She was the legend which made me see the beauty of the Holo New Year Cup. A legend which shines brighter than any other, and I have no doubts that her legend is very likely to reach even greater heights. This tournament will be an uphill battle for all, because Suisei is not an easy standard to surpass. Yet, there is still hope for one to rise to the challenge, someone whose skill was acknowledged by Suisei herself, the newest addition to Hololive's racing aces. The heavens resound with the fighting howls of the Divine Wolf, she who has avenged herself from her unfortunate fate. To the winds of fortune whisper yet again of glory, all shall be revealed in the cards. The Divine Ebon Streak, Okayu Mio. Back in the third tournament, the winds of fortune were not on her side, a fate she had previously foreseen in the cards, as during the tournament she disconnected, causing her to drop into the Zako Cup. As expected, someone of Mio's skill was too much for Zako Cup, and she proceeded to decimate the competition and easily win the losers bracket with a gap in points from everyone else the size of the Grand Canyon. It was seeing that performance which made me pick Mio last year as a likely candidate for the finals. However, not only did Mio make it to the finals, but she also went far beyond my expectations and tied with Marin, the Crimson Storm Voyager, in points for second place. While I knew she was good, it absolutely caught me by surprise seeing her perform at the level of the best aces in Hololive. As mentioned previously, even Suisei recognized how far Mio's skill had come, seeing her as a big threat and someone who potentially could have won the tournament. Mio's training after a disconnection incident has brought her to incredible heights. Her movements are sharper, her decisions more deliberate and calculated. She knows how to use shortcuts and commits little mistakes. Nervousness seems to barely affect her performance, and by now she's also quite experienced. Even though she was already pretty good, her skills have transcended so much that if you compare her performance from both the third and fourth tournaments, they are too far leagues apart. She is worthy of being considered one of the best, tying with Mari just below Suisei is no joke, especially when you consider how fierce the rest of the competition also is. Though she ultimately was ranked third due to tournament rules, Mio's determination to improve and win was shown to be one of the greatest in Hololive, and it is because of all these reasons I believe Mio should have no trouble making it into the finals as well. In fact, I believe Mio to be one of the few in the whole tournament who has a good chance of seizing the champion title from Suisei. And while I still believe Suisei to have the highest likelihood to succeed overall, I have chosen to cheer for Mio the most this year. Praise God Mio, and may the cards herald fortunate tidings. My third pick may surprise those not familiar with the Holo New Year Cup. The Elite Speedster, Sakura Miko. Yes indeed, Miko is surprisingly good in Mario Kart. Even though she is still quite clumsy, she actually performs quite well and has consistently made it to the finals in recent tournaments. And decently high rank too. Of course, in spite of that, she still has some noticeable flaws, and while I consider her an ace, she's not quite at the same tier as the likes of Mio and Suisei. Miko is more or less the standard of consistency and skill you have to surpass if you want to become an ace. As for her flaws, she's still a bit clumsy, lacking that perfect polish of the greatest aces. Additionally, while nervousness doesn't affect her too much, unexpected situations tend to get to her a bit, and she has a habit of taking impulsive and reckless decisions, like choosing Baby Park, a map which is more RNG than it is skill, effectively nullifying Miko's decent skills and putting her at an even ground with opponents she otherwise would be superior to. She finished last in that race too. I swear Lady Luck truly has a sense of humor. Lastly, for my final pick, I was undecided between three members, those being Takane Lui, Koseki Bijou, and Nakiri Ayame. Ultimately, I have chosen Takane Lui, but I do have some words about Bijou as well. Firstly, let's talk about my pick, Takane Lui. Lui is yet another example of someone who is proof that dedication and practice pays off. Last year, I mentioned Lui as a honorable mention in Group D, as I saw how hard she had been practicing. Her performance has improved quite considerably too, and in the end, she made it to the finals, going onwards to place 7th in the final rankings. While I do not believe she has shown the results to become an ace and be given a title just yet, I truly believe she has the potential for it, and as such I have put my belief in her that she can survive to the finals. She is a true and tested competitor in the Holo New Year Cup, and one with a determination to do what needs to be done to succeed. Hopefully, this hawk will soar even higher and carve up a legend for herself. Now, as for Bijou, you might be surprised to hear that she's actually one of the members I have the highest expectations of. Ultimately, I did not pick her due to a lack of information. She's a newcomer after all. However, I remember very well the early days of Koseki Bijou, when she mentioned that she was a gamer and she intended to win any tournament she participated. That gave me hope that perhaps we could have ourselves a new legend in the making. Overall, I believe Bijou to be good at games, and she seems quite dedicated too, in many ways similar to Kayla. It is for that reason that I believe Bijou to be the most promising newcomer this year, and my #1 honorable mention for this entire tournament. While I did not pick her, I expect her to put up a good show and maybe make it to the finals. It's time Holoyume got another ace alongside Gura, and Bijou inspires in me great confidence. As for Ayame, she did very much surprise me in the last tournament when she made it to the finals, also from Group D. Even if she ended up last in the finals, the fact she made it is quite respectable still. This makes me believe she has potential, but for now, I just think the other picks I made are more likely to succeed. With that said, I'm always happy to be surprised again. And that does it for Group A. For Group B we have Sora, Mel, Subaru, Pekora, Towa, Koyori, Kayla, Kobo, Ina, Mume, Fuwawa, and Ririka. This is to me the hardest group to predict, as many of its competitors are not too far off from each other in terms of skill. I find this to be the most interesting group as a result. Now, my first pick will be none other than the angel on the field, demon on the wheel, the speed demon, Tokoyami Towa. Ever since the second tournament, Towa has been the host of the Holo New Year Cup. The problem with that is that she had barely any practice to train leading up to the tournaments, as she was always busy making the necessary preparations for them, on top of her usual activities. For this reason, Towa's performance is noticeably lower during the actual tournaments, and last year she was not able to qualify to the finals. However, this year Okayu volunteered to aid Towa with the hosting, allowing her more time to practice, so we can expect a much more polished level of play from Towa this year. I have no doubts that Towa is the strongest in Group B, being the shining standard of an ace in the history of the whole New Year Cup, when at her best. Towa is very experienced and knows many of the techniques needed to succeed. She is able to compete with the other aces of Hololive, and due to all her tournament experiences, even outside the Holo New Year Cup, her mental fortitude is very sturdy, and she is not likely to be affected by nervousness. She was also one of the big threats in the infamous 2022 Group B, comprised of other monsters like Aqua and Suisei. For this reason, Towa is also my top pick for winner in this group. My next pick is Ozora Subaru. Much like Takane Lui, Ozora Subaru is someone who I believe is very close to meeting the standard of an ace, very close to forging her very own legend. She is a veteran competitor with a decent track record. She finished 5th in the first tournament, 8th in the second tournament, 8th again in the third tournament, and 6th in the fourth tournament. Subaru is a Tsuyo Cup staple, and even though the competition only gets fiercer with each passing year, she is the living proof of such rising competition. Her skills have been steadily improving to the point I can say with confidence that she is one of the toughest members in Group B. Perhaps this year we shall witness the rising of a new star. The final two picks are the hardest one to make, but some of you already know who's to be my third pick. Hololive's greatest villain, Usada Pekora. I know. I may be slightly biased since Pekora is my Kamiyoshi. However, hear me out. Pekora is a pretty solid competitor who's a veteran competing since the very first Holo New Year Cup, and one of the best in the early days of the tournament. However, as the competition became fiercer with each passing year, Pekora began struggling, and in the last two tournaments, she was unable to make it to the finals. While Pekora is genuinely good at games, her biggest flaw is plain for all to see. Nervousness makes Pekora commit lots of small mistakes, which pile up over the course of a race. It makes her crumble under pressure and highlights the lack of polish in her skills. This is the major flaw she will have to work on if she is to ever make it to the finals. I believe Pekora can do it. She has grown considerably this last year as well, and it is for that exact reason that my hope for her yet lives as bright as ever. She fought admirably in the infamous 2022 Group B, going up against the Azure Flash Comet, the Zero Overlord, the Speed Demon, and the Cerulean Riptide. She had a fierce duel with this last one, the Cerulean Riptide, where ultimately Gura beat Pekora with 1 point of difference and went on to place 4th in the finals. This was Gura at her best performance. For Pekora to have put up such a great fight against her really makes me believe she too could one day reach those heights. So, I place my belief in her yet again. 2024 may be Pekora's return to the Tsuyo Cup. If Pekora manages to calm her nerves, I know she will outshine any of her previous year's performances. Finally, the last pick, a close call between Ninomae Ina'nis and Koyori. Koyori performed admirably last year, having trained very hard and making it to the finals. She has a proven track record, and I know she can improve even more. Yet, while Koyori is the safest pick, my choice is ultimately Ninomae Ina'nis. This choice is more feeling than logic, I must admit. Koyori is the logical choice. However, 2 years ago, when I made my first predictions video, I placed a lot of trust that Ina could not only make it to the finals, but place high up in the final rankings. Unfortunately, she did not succeed in making it to the Tsuyo Cup, and in the next year after, she did not even participate. But as I have said once before, my belief for the priestess did not die. I believe in Ina. Her potential is outstanding. Ina was a champion of the EN and ID Mario Kart tournament, where she consistently placed very high. While the competition there was not as high as what the JP members provide, it is nonetheless a testament to Ina's potential. But just like Pekora, nervousness got to Ina. She crumbled under pressure. However, that was a long time ago. Since then, Ina has changed. She's been through a very healthy hiatus, which has brought forth the best in her. Ask any Takodachi. When Ina returned from her hiatus, she felt great. She felt happier, more energetic, brighter. It is for this reason I believe in Ina even more than before. I know Ina will do her best, but above all, she will have fun, regardless of whether she wins or loses. This, I believe, is the key that may keep her nervousness under control. Even though I absolutely love Koyori, and I know she is the safest pick. Like I promised 2 years ago, I placed my belief in Ina. That belief has never died, merely waiting for the priestess's return. Honorable mentions to Tokino Sora and Kyla Kowalska. Sora performed admirably as a newcomer last year. The potential is there. Kyla, while not having performed as good as I thought, remains as unpredictable as ever. Depending on her training off-stream, she may yet become a force to be reckoned with. Finally, here I also make the Zako Queen pick of the year. You may have noticed that this year, the unbeatable Zako Queen, the Nurse of Steel, Yuzuki Choko, is absent, as she wishes to give someone else the chance to claim the title for themselves. So ultimately, Kobo is the safest pick for the Zako Queen title. Will she become the inheritor of Choko's legacy? Or will she become this year's surprise? Lastly, for Group C we have Aki, Matsuri, Okayu, Chloe, Ollie, Anya, Calliope, IRyS, Kronii, Kanade, and Hajime. Much like Group A, here too exists one who stands out above all. Like lightning, she is who splits the very heavens themselves. She who once ruled over the mountain summit has made her return. Ferocious and resolute, she aims yet again to conquer the stars above. Our former champion, the Purple Lightning Bolt, Nekomata Okayu! The previous champion and my overall top pick for Group C. Okayu is a veteran competitor and a Tsuyo Cup staple, a consistent top performer always among the top 4 in rankings. She was the winner of the 3rd Holo New Year Cup, the one who managed to take down the Azure Flash Comet Hoshimachi Suisei in a thorough victory with a 9-point lead over 2nd place. And while her title may have been reclaimed by Suisei the next year after, Okayu has proven to be one of the greatest forces to be reckoned with in the history of the Holo New Year Cup. Okayu has the greatest mental fortitude among the aces. Always calm and relaxed, unfazed by any pressure, her skills are polished, and she possesses great knowledge of the game. A truly consistent player with a beautiful track record. Together with Okami Mio, she may be one of the few in Hololive who can match up against Suisei, an ace among aces in a league above the rest. This year, however, Okayu has volunteered to aid Towa with the hosting of the tournament, as she had intended since last year. As such, she may not have as many opportunities to practice as previous years. Still, with one of Okayu's skills, and with the responsibility shared between the two people this time around, I have no doubts Okayu will once again excel. The Purple Lightning Bolt remains one of the Azure Flash Comet's greatest threats, and perhaps we may yet see again a sky illuminated by Purple Lightning. My second pick, Natsuhiro Matsuri. Matsuri is a solid veteran competitor, one I have never lost belief in, even as she struggled to find her place in the finals. But after 2 unsuccessful years, Matsuri has made a return to the Tsuyo Cup in the 4th Holo New Year Cup, and from her performance last year you can see she has improved on her greatest weakness. Matsuri has shown that mental fortitude can be strengthened. Matsuri always possessed decent skills, but the biggest flaw holding her back was nervousness, which drastically reduced her effectiveness in tournaments. She too crumbled under pressure, but perhaps due to the wide experience Matsuri has gained in recent years. With all the Apex tournaments like V-Saikyo she has participated on, Matsuri has become more resilient to pressure, being able to control her nerves and make better decisions when the going gets tough. It is by fixing her greatest flaw that she has managed to return to the Tsuyo Cup, even as the competition has gotten far fiercer than when she first did it too. It is with pleasure that I can say she has lived up to the expectations and can now with confidence pick her as a solid candidate to the Tsuyo Cup this year. My second pick in Group C, and perhaps a new ace in the making. Finally, the last two picks are Kronii and Chloe. Yes, these two again. In the third Holo New Year Cup, they placed 11th and 12th respectively, with 1 point of difference from each other. Last year they competed in the same group, but both failed to make it to the finals. Now they shall be going up against each other for the third time, and I believe both have the potential to make it to the Tsuyo Cup. I believe that at this point they should just be considered rivals already. Fate seems to link these two together, their skills are decent, and while they are far from aces, they both show promise. With that said, I have some words about two other competitors. Firstly, IRyS. While I did not pick her, I acknowledge she has decent skills, and is more than a match for both Chloe and Kronii. IRyS could very well make it too, but ultimately I chose the other two due to having a better track record to back them up. Lastly, Ollie. I must say I've noticed Ollie has been steadily improving at the game as well, no longer relying on Olivia, and being able to keep calm better than before. There is much that still needs to be polished, and she doesn't always manage to keep herself calm.
Okay, keep calm, keep calm, keep calm, keep calm! Keep calm, Andy! Never!
But she seems to be going in a good direction, and I cannot wait to see what she has to show this year as well. Much like IRyS, she too could very well make it to the finals this year. I believe in her. To summarize, from Group A, my picks are the Azure Flash Comet, Hoshimachi Suisei, the Divine Ebon Streak, Okami Mio, the Elite Speedster, Sakura Miko, and Takane Lui. My top pick from among these four in Group A is the Azure Flash Comet, Hoshimachi Suisei. From Group B, my picks are the Speed Demon Tokoyami Towa, Ozora Subaru, Usada Pekora, and Ninomae Ina'nis. My top pick from among these four in Group B is the Speed Demon Tokoyami Towa. From Group C, my picks are the Purple Lightning Bolt, Nekomata Okayu, Natsuiru Matsuri, Ouro Kronii, and Sakamata Chloe. My top pick from among these four in Group C is the Purple Lightning Bolt, Nekomata Okayu. My pick for the most promising newcomer is Koseki Bijou, and my pick for the Zako Queen of this year is Kobo Kanairu. There are several aces that aren't participating this year, most notably the founder and original champion, the Zero Overlord, Minato Aqua, as well as the Crimson Storm Voyager, Hosho Marin, and the Cerulean Riptide, Gaud Gura. Even still, this is looking to be quite the interesting tournament, and with the new rules and system in place, I am curious to see how much it will affect the qualifiers to the Tsuyo Cup. Above all, this tournament will be a test, and possibly the end of a legend. After being victorious in the fourth Holo New Year Cup, Hoshimachi Suisei began thinking of putting her competition days behind, expressing that it may be best to retire from the championship as someone who has already won twice. However, she ultimately decided not to do so unless she wins a third time. There is a big chance this could very well be Suisei's last tournament, the end of the Azure Flash Comet. Only by winning against Suisei can this fate be stopped. The Azure Flash will give it her all, as she always does, and only someone who can match her skill and willpower can defeat her and keep her inner spark ablaze. Should she win this year as well, Suisei will transcend and truly be in a league of her own. She believes that it would not be fair for her to continue competing, and understandably, it would also not incite the same spark of competitiveness in her. This is why, in order for the legend of the Azure Flash Comet to continue, someone must face Suisei at her best and win. Someone has to match her overwhelming determination and risk themselves being scorched by her dazzling azure light. The odds aren't looking too good, but there is still a chance that someone will step up to carry the weight of such a legend. Unfortunately, the Zero Overlord won't be coming for a title this time. My hopes rest within the Divine Ebon Streak, but the Purple Lightning Bolt has shown to be capable too. Or perhaps it could be someone else, like an old veteran, a determined rising star, or perhaps a promising newcomer. All shall be decided in the track. The fifth Holo New Year Cup heralds the coming of an Azure destiny. Hoshimachi Suisei, the Azure Flash Comet, shall await her challengers with open arms. Those who wish to lay claim to her throne will have to give it their very best and go above and beyond to take it for themselves. Quite a hard ask, but such is the only way to prevent Suisei's legend from transcending into enlightenment, where she can truly be called the best of the best in the Holo New Year Cup history. Will this be the end or a new beginning? Only time will tell. So go forth, brave competitors, and face the Azure Light head on!